G'day everyone. Gonna do another one of these live recording sessions. Um, Live, unplanned, a little bit rough. Um, we will be building an auto mechanics directory website, and we will be using V0, Bolt, Loveable, Replit, so the free tier across each one of these different AI builders. Gonna try a few different things. I'm starting with a fresh account on each one of the services. So basically started up a brand new Gmail account, started up a brand new GitHub account. There's basically nothing in here. Started up a new Supabase account just to see whether we can get to a point where we're creating a database or we're integrating database into one of these websites that we build via one of these AI generators. I will also try to capture some notes as we go. We'll see whether other people pop in. See whether anyone's got any questions. If you like this sort of content, gonna have to get used to saying this. If you like this sort of content, subscribe, like, and maybe leave me some comments, and I'll try to create some more content in the future. All right, so let's just kind of go over what we're going to be building. So what are we building, right? So the plan is to build an auto mechanics directory website, right? So that's basically our plan for tonight, to try to use the free tier on each one of these different AI app builder services and just see how far we can get. What are the key features that we want, right? What are the key features, right? So obviously we want a homepage. Let's say homepage, a listing page, and a detail page. We want to feature 10 auto mechanic businesses right on the home page. We also want a comprehensive directory. Let's rewrite this. A listing page that provides a comprehensive list of auto mechanics. Detail page that has a description, list of services offered, location details, list of services offered, price range of services, location, and reviews, right? So we want that, and let's say, let's actually be a little bit more specific. So auto mechanics directory website for the greater Sydney area, right? So here we go. That's basically a rough plan of what we want to build. So let's actually see where we can clean up the actual prompt that we feed into these different services. So I've started off something here. Let's kind of clean this up a little bit. So what I'm doing here, I'm just going to feed in just a bunch of random sort of thoughts into Claude, and I'm asking Claude to basically write me some custom instructions. And I'm going to try to ask it to actually provide me step-by-step instructions for building the site, so that maybe we can basically reuse those same instructions across the different services. So like V0, Bolt, Loveable, Replit. So let me just add this in as well. I'll add that as well. And what I would say is we want to build the site directory site from a static version to one that integrates Supabase for its database. What else do we want to do? Can you provide the step-by-step instructions for building out the website with, and keep in mind that we want the prompts to be succinct, because we will feed each step into an AI app generator. Start the steps off by building out the home page, then the listing, then the detail, with the final steps incorporating Supabase or database for the database. Keep. So some of these services like Loveable already, they've got Supabase integrations, right? So what I might actually add is keep the Supabase instructions high level, as some of the AI app services already have Supabase integration. Okay, let's try that. See what Claude comes up with in terms of instructions. This might not work, or it might. We'll see. We'll see how far we get. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, doesn't look too bad. Cool. So we've got some pretty nice steps here. Some of them we might skip, because all these free services, their free tiers have some pretty tight limits on tokens. So whenever we write a prompt, we're basically using up tokens, and we kind of want to avoid some of these steps that could potentially cause us to lose a lot of or use up a lot of tokens. So we want to try to push these free tiers as far as we can. All right, that's pretty cool. Actually, you might sort of say, that's great. Can you keep the instructions somewhat simple and avoid, and for now, let's avoid using potentially complicated features such as the map, reCAPTCHA, etc. Okay, cool. That's a little bit better. I also want to try out a service that helps build out the actual database. So let's go. Is it .build? Yeah, it is .build. So let's try this. Let's see. So this database.build, what it does is it actually helps you build out the actual database. Just want to give it a try, see whether I can use it to speed up just creating a database in Supabase. Let's just try something. Can you provide a short description of what we need from the database so that I can provide it to an AI-powered database builder. Which will scaffold out the initial database. See what we can do here. I actually ask it to provide a summary of what we're building. It. Can you also provide a description of what we're actually building along with the database table instructions? Cool. See what happens. Alright. So we've got that. Feed that into this. Let's see what it does. Cool. Cool. Alright, so we've fed in an overview of what we need from the database. So that's pretty cool. So it's actually executed this SQL, and it's actually built a local. I believe it, from what I understand, what this tool actually does is it actually builds a local database. I haven't played around with this kind of tool too much, but one of these days, really would like to push it a little bit, and just see how much it can do kind of locally. Okay, so we've got this the database structure for the auto mechanic directory project has been successfully created. Yep, includes businesses, services, reviews, contact submissions. Yep, cool. Now, what can I do to deploy the data? So you need to connect to. Okay, let's connect to our Supabase account. Let's see what this does. Okay, so doesn't look like I can select the project that I've already created. So it's actually deploying a brand new project. Let's just give it a go. So the free account that I've created in Supabase, it does come with 2 free projects. So we're just going to deploy this, see what happens. And then once that's set up, what we'll do is we'll switch to each one of the AI app builders, and we'll get started. Where are our steps? So these are our steps, right? So we'll see how far we can get along with these steps. Anyways, actually, while this is doing its thing, let's kick things off. Right. So this is V0. This is Bolt. This is Loveable, and this is Replit. Alright, so each one of these tools is pretty awesome. They all have a bit of a spin on helping you build out your applications using AI, right? So for example, V0, it basically helps you build out a Next.js project, right? Bolt, it's got a bit more support, right? So with Bolt, for example, you can build a Next.js project, or you can build a Astro project. It's got support for React, Angular, a whole bunch of different things, right? Loveable, I believe the main thing that they specialize in is Vite projects, React and Vite projects. And Replit, they specialize in Python, right? But I also see that it looks like they now support Next.js. But initially, they basically supported Python. If you were someone that's really comfortable with building out Python applications, and you'd want to speed up your process, Replit is probably the thing that you really wanted to look at. Okay, so let's do this. Let's actually come up with a bit of a description for what we need. So let me just quickly improve this. Can you add a description of what we're building to the below steps? Cool. All right. Nice. All right. So we've got a nice set of steps, or we've got a description of what we're building, key features for the project, target users, and then we've got a bunch of steps, right? I've got to say, Claude's done a really good job of turning my crappily written prompts into something that's pretty well structured. So let's give this a go. Now again, each one of these AI builders, yes, they have free tiers, but each one of them has a limit in regards to tokens, right? So for example, and sometimes they really don't make it too easy to find, you know, what your actual limits are. So for example, for V0, let me have a look at the billing. So it looks like for V0 you've got 700 credits, whatever that means. I don't even know whether this is really a limit, because all of a sudden it's saying that it's deprecated. But again, there is a limit for how much you can use the free tier on V0. On Bolt, again, there's a limit. So if I go into my subscription, actually maybe not subscription, where is it? Settings maybe? Yes, settings, tokens. So for Bolt, you get 150,000 tokens per day, and you get 1 million tokens per month. So this is pretty generous. It's not great, but it's among all the different services, it's pretty generous. So this is on a free tier. Now if I go to Loveable, again, they don't always make it super easy to find what the limits are. So profile, it's not in profiles, it's settings, plans. See, here. So there's 5 out of 5 daily messages remaining. I don't exactly understand what it means by messages, right? So we'll try, for Loveable, we're going to try packing as much into the prompts as we can. Replit, again, I don't know. Here, down here it says you get free ripples. Hopefully this is the AI builder, but we'll see what happens. All right, so let's get things started. So let's go, and we'll go from the description of what we're building, key features, target users, implementation steps for phase 1. So I've got all these copied. Right, I'm not sure. Let's see whether it actually copies. Nah. Okay, let's let's do this. So we're doing it this way. I don't have to number all these different steps, right? Or features, I should say. So we plug that in. Let's get that going in V0. So V0 is thinking, right? I'll let it run so you can see what it looks like when V0 is working through the different features as it generates things. So obviously V0 specializes, their main focus is next, right? So a few important bits and pieces. So V0 it's a little bit strange. It doesn't actually provide you all the files for your Next.js project. What you get is you get the pieces, right, for your the pieces that you kind of requested, and then what you need to do is you basically need to pull those features into an existing Next.js project. So for people, and I guess this is pretty important for those of you that might not be super great with your coding. V0 does expect you to have a bit of know-how around Next.js, a bit around React, around installing packages, and actually plug in what V0 actually comes up with into an existing Next.js project. So if you need something to kind of hold your hand a little bit more, V0 is probably not the best place to start. Yes, you could potentially use the prompts. So prompt it to get it to explain to you give you more step-by-step instructions on how to implement what V0 is actually built into an existing project. But then if you're doing that, you're going to be using up tokens. If you were going to take that route where you use V0 and you need it to kind of help you, I'd basically take what V0 has actually provided you, feed it into maybe Claude, ChatGPT, or something like that, and use another LLM to actually help you take you through step by step through actually creating Next.js project, so you can basically get to a certain point where you can introduce what V0 is actually built. But this is pretty nice. So it looks pretty nice, but one kind of big important bit that you'll probably notice with V0 compared to other services, what V0 sort of gives you, because it's largely using ShadCN and components and stuff like that, they do look fairly bare bones. The designs look fairly bare bones, so if you're kind of expecting something with a little bit more design pizzazz, V0 is again probably not the best thing for you. But if you're looking to kind of start off with something that's fairly minimalistic, so you can apply your own design sort of flair to it, then yeah, this is pretty nice, especially if you want to use ShadCN components, React components. They're pretty nice. It's like a pretty nice start. So that was V0. So we get we basically see our prompt. You see what it's actually done, and then it gives you a bit of a summary of what it's actually generated. It provides you with some steps for what you need to do within your existing project, right? And then once you're here, what you can basically do is, like, you've got access to actual generated code. You do have a console if you really need it. You do have a button that, so if I click add to code base, gives me little command, npx command, to install what I've generated within my code base, or you can download a zip of what's been generated, and you can fork this, what you've built, share it, even deploy it. Right, then you've got things like select, so you can select different areas, and with the selection, you can basically, let's say if I select this, okay, and then I can basically prompt it to, okay, let's say, can we turn the all button into a blue primary button? So you can basically select certain areas and basically prompt those specific areas. And again, so V0 is thinking, it's actually showing you what it's doing. And there we go, we've got an all that looks primary. So that's the first step done in V0. Now let's move to Bolt, and we'll do the same thing. So we'll select the description, key features, target users, the phase 1 features. We'll plug that in, and we'll let Bolt kick things off. And again, I'll let it do its thing so you can see what it does. So again, similar to V0, bolts, building out the different features. One massive thing that you need to kind of take notice of, Bolt gives you a complete project. So you got things like your package.json, your Tailwind config, your TypeScript configs, your Vite config, and so on. Right? So this project, so because I haven't specified exactly, haven't told Bolt exactly what to use for the project in terms of libraries and so on, it's actually decided to use a Vite, and by the looks of it, we're using React, right? So if I go into package.json, so we can see React and we can see Vite. Now, if we go back to preview, again, something else to sort of notice, bit of a difference between V0 and Bolt. You get more of a design. Bolt applies a bit more design to what it actually generates. So it's not so much bare bones. And with Bolt, you can sort of nudge the prompt in a way, so you can basically say that, hey, I want a modern look and feel for my site, or I want a old looking look and feel for my site, and Bolt will try to interpret what you're telling it and apply some sort of design to what it's generating. Similar to V0, it sort of tells you what it's actually doing, the steps that it's taken. So it's had to install some dependencies, for example, and once it's done what it's needed to do, it's rerun the app, and it gives you a bit of a summary of what it's done. You get access to the codebase, similar to V0. You do have like a Bolt console as well as a terminal. A terminal is pretty good in that I can basically have a look at the project files. I can, for example, manually install node packages and so on. Which is really handy. If there are any errors as well, you'll see them within the console, and you can potentially copy those errors and get Bolt to try to address them. You can download the source. So downloading the source will give you all the project files. So you can basically unzip, use a terminal, go into that folder, do an npm install, and in theory you should be able to run this project that's been generated, which isn't too bad for something that for a free tier, right? You can get pretty far. You can open up this code base within StackBlitz, which is basically StackBlitz is kind of like a Visual Studio Code within the browser. So again, you can do a fair few things in here. Full-fledged code editor with like a basically code preview. You can hook Bolt up to your GitHub, right? So whatever you do here within StackBlitz, you can basically then commit it back to your GitHub account. And again, you can download. I believe you can still download your project. Let me just have a look. Okay. No, it's maybe not. Maybe the main thing that you can do is just create a repository. I thought that there might be a button that sort of easily allows you to download the project, but I can't see it at the moment. anyways, that's Stack Blitz. Let's go back to Bolt. So yep, Bolt generated us this homepage, which is pretty nice, not too bad. Compared to V0, very similar features, right? So that's Bolt. Now let's try doing the same thing on Loveable. So let's go to Loveable, and again we'll just select our prompt, feed it in, and let's generate. Let's see what Loveable can come up with. So again, it's kind of giving you a bit of a, or it's spinning up the preview. It's doing a bit of thinking. Right, so here we go. So it's kind of, again, it's giving us a bit of a summary of what it's actually doing, right? Now, out of all the different AI builders that I've come across, Loveable is, I guess, takes some of the biggest design inspiration, or applies some of the biggest design sort of, or tries to figure out like a very nice design for whatever it generates. And you'll sort of, hopefully we'll see it, but you can sort of see here from the prompt that we've given it, it's actually come up with like a fairly comprehensive idea of what it thinks the design should look like. So yep, covers our key features. Again, it's talking about the styling approach. Interestingly, it also selected things like typography, animations. Wow. Okay. All right. That looks pretty schmick. Looks pretty nice. Right. So nice highlights. Do any of the features work? Nope. I'm not expecting any of the features to sort of work so far, but not bad. Not too bad. Hover effects. Right. Even I like this. So even the actual featured cards, if you roll over them, you can see that there's a bit of a subtle animation. So I guess this is one of the examples where I say that Loveable kind of goes a little bit further in terms of what it does with designs. Now again, it's really up to you whether you want something minimalistic, similar to what V0 gives you, or whether you want an AI to sort of try to figure out what try to figure out the design for you, really, or the gaps in the design. Try to figure those out for you. The interesting thing is it's also done like a sticky header, which is pretty interesting. Let's see, do we have a sticky header? We don't have a sticky header for Bolt. We do have hover effects, but we've got a bit of a card animation. Just the image, it doesn't do anything with the image, whereas Loveable does. It does like a little bit of zoom in. And then if we go to V0, you don't even get images, you get placeholders. There are no hover effects. Very simple. Although there's no hover effects on the cards, and there's very simple hover effects on the buttons. Alright. So between V0 and Loveable, you can kind of see how much the AI does in terms of design, right? Okay, so that's it. That's sort of Loveable. Let's have a look at some of the buttons. So you do have a history of what it's done. You've got some settings over here. You can connect to GitHub, right? So let me just quickly connect to the GitHub now. So we'll just connect to GitHub. Cool. Yep, we can keep it public. So see, one thing about Loveable is that if this project that I've built is public, if I wanted a private project, then I'd need to subscribe. Okay, what else? Another pretty cool thing with Loveable, there is almost like a, well, there is a direct integration with Supabase, right? So if I click connect to Supabase, so again, it's going to be asking to authorize. And I don't know whether it's going to bug out because I've already got 2 projects within Supabase. Okay, so it's showing me my existing projects. Let's try the project that we use the database builder with. So I'll try connecting that. See what happens. So see, it's trying to connect to the database. While it's doing that, so obviously once you connect to your GitHub, so transfer this repository to your GitHub to collaborate. Okay. Okay, that's really interesting. It's a little bit interesting. It looks like it actually creates so it creates your project within their GitHub repository, and then if you want, you can transfer it into your own. Obviously, you can publish, right, and you can deploy as well. We might try that a little bit later. Similar to V0, so you can select a different area, and then you can basically prompt that particular area. So for example, I select the title. Can you make the title jump out in a modern way? See what it does there. So it's thinking. So looks like it'll look. It interpreted what I just said to basically add an animation to the title. Let's see what it actually comes up with. Looks like it's doing some fancy stuff within Tailwind. Let's have a look. Okay. That wasn't much of an effect. Okay. It just jumps once and that's it. Okay, that's cool. So that's Loveable. I think I've clicked around everything. So you can, I should say, so next to this, so you've got to open the page in a preview window. Alright, pretty cool. And then you can switch to a mobile preview. Obviously refresh, and you've got the select, which is you select a certain area, or multi-select and then prompt those areas. Let's try a Replit. So that was Loveable. Let's try a Replit. Same deal. I should also say, let's actually, just before I move on, one big thing with Loveable. There isn't, unless you actually open up the project within GitHub, you don't necessarily get an easy way of seeing the actual code, what it's actually built. You can see the diffs, but from what I can see, you can't really get to the code base really easily. Sort of sucks. But yeah, again, that's Loveable. Alright, Replit. Let's try the same prompt. Oh, what's it saying? You must have an active subscription. Okay, so you can't with Replit. I guess this is for anyone that's, that's considering Replit. It looks like you can't even use the Replit agent unless you've got an active subscription, right? Let's just have a look. So, okay, monthly it's $25 to get access to Replit agent, or yearly $15 a month, or $180 a year. Bit steep compared to everything else, but I guess if you really like the other features of Replit, then maybe Replit agent is the way to go. So, sorry Replit, but you're out of the running. Again, just before I go, so it's not even allowing me to start building. It just basically gives me an error message saying active subscription is required. Alright, now before I move on to the next step, let's have a look at how many tokens I've used up. Let's try to figure it out. So let's go billing maybe. See, I don't understand. For V0, I don't understand where the balance is for the number of tokens that I've actually got and the number of tokens I've used. See, I see this. It says need more messages. If I do upgrade, see, it doesn't even say here what the token limit is, or the premium. With premium, you basically, all they're saying is that you get everything that's in free. You get high limits, but we don't know what the limits are. You get custom domains on published blocks, unlimited projects, input from Figma, so on. Team, everything in premium, even higher message limits, centralized billing, and enterprise, everything in team, single sign-on, dedicated customer support, priority access to V0, opt out of training by default. I guess that's one thing that you also need to keep in mind. Whatever these tools generate, in most cases, unless you're on an enterprise account, plan, they will use the prompts to further train them their models. So V0, not sure how many tokens we've used up so far, but okay. Bolts, if I go into settings, tokens, so far we've used up 25,446 tokens, right? Just to build the homepage. So that should give you a bit of an idea, you know. Yeah, you get a few pages, really, unless you get stuck and you just start churning away at the tokens. Now, Loveable. Let's see, for Loveable, what do we have? How many messages have we used? Wow, alright. So for Loveable, it looks like we've already used 2 messages. Now, bit of an issue, me showing, I believe, selecting the header and asking it to actually apply an animation, even though the animation looks pretty crap. I believe we've used up one of our messages. with that animation. So another thing to keep in mind, you know, if you're using your free tier on Loveable and you've got 5 messages, try to pack as much as you can into the messages and just focus on the key features, because you will run out of messages fairly quickly. And it is daily messages. Yep, daily messages. So if you run out of messages, you have to, and you don't update or upgrade to a subscription, you'll have to wait until the next day to get 5 more messages. Alright, so let's try the next phase, which is a listing page. Let's try it in V0. So again, V0 is just generating different files. On the left hand side, we see a bit of a summary of what it's doing, the step by step, or the different steps that it's taken. This is pretty interesting. I just noticed that it looks like you can actually open up the different versions. So we just generated version 3. Okay, so it's added version 4 as well. So it looks like you can open up different versions individually. But okay, so it's kind of stuffed up a bit of the UI. So now we've got searches and spanning across. Filters obviously don't work. Let's switch the direction to the directory. So if I go back to here, up here, so I can see that V0 created a directory page. Now we'll see whether it's actually linked it to the header. So if I click directory, yep, okay, cool. So we've got a business listing page, right? And if we go back to home, so we've got 2 pages now. Now pagination's not going to work. The design again is pretty bare bones. But yeah, it is what it is. If footer, yep, footer is linked as well. So if I go to directory and footer and then home, yeah. Now the crappy thing is, if I can potentially select the search and ask it to actually fix the actual search, but that will use up tokens, right? So if you're using these free tiers, be mindful that you don't want to. You kind of want to build out all your key features, almost like stomach the imperfections, and try to get to a point where you've sort of got something fairly solid which you can then download or open up in something else, and so that you can then take it further, right, without sort of hitting limits. But that's basically V0 and its directory. Alright, so facets. The facet behavior isn't working. But anyways, that's what it looks like. So let's try the same thing in Bolt. So again, let's go phase 2. See what Bolt. Oh, this project was updated recently from another device or in another browser. Okay. Let's see what Bolt comes up with. Again, left hand side, it's sort of showing you what it's doing and the different steps that it's taken. Gives you a bit of a nice summary of what it's done. And here we go. Here's the that's a little bit interesting. So it's actually, it looks like it's changed out the home page to be the actual listing page, which is not exactly what we wanted. So that kind of sucks a little bit. Did it completely remove the home page? Okay. So I guess this is probably another important lesson. So it looks like Bolt didn't really take this as the next step. What it's actually done is actually taking this, the phase 2 prompt, on its own, and it's overridden our homepage. So I guess this is a good step to sort of show that within V0, within Bolt, what you can do is you can roll back to previous checkpoint, right? So if I do that and I revert it, I should get the home page back. And then what we'll do is we'll tweak the actual phase 2 instructions and try again. Now doing this will use up tokens, but hopefully it doesn't use up as too many tokens. Well, let's have a look. Okay, so we got the home page back, and now let's go paste in the phase 2 step. Let's continue by adding a directory listing page for all auto and mechanic businesses in the Greater Sydney area. Please link the directory anchor, the header and footer to the new listing page. Here are additional instructions. See where it understands these instructions a little bit better. So we don't want to replace the home page. We just want a new listing page. It's doing something a little bit funky there. Looks like the shadow is broken. So does this look a little bit better? So we've got a directory page now. So some mock data. Still kind of screwed up our homepage. Do we have a directory page? Yeah, we've got a directory page. So that's a little bit disappointing. Yeah, it looks like, I don't understand why it would touch the, see, it's touching the actual app. That sucks a little bit. But I guess this sort of shows you what can potentially happen. Now, from here, you've got sort of two choices. You can either potentially roll back to the previous checkpoint and then try rewriting the prompt to be a bit more specific in terms of telling Bolt not to touch the home page and to keep the features on the home page as they are. Or you keep prompting from this point. In both cases, you're going to be using up tokens. So if I go into settings, we've now used up 89,000 or a little bit over 89,000 tokens. And we've got we had a great homepage. Now we don't. We've got a really minimalistic homepage. Do have a directory page. Let's see whether the filters work. See, the filters aren't working. Yeah, none of the filters. What about search? Yep, search doesn't work either. And then submit doesn't work. And I'm not expecting contact to work, but that's where Bolt's at the moment. So next thing that we want to do, let's try the same thing in Loveable. Let's copy the same prompt. So we don't want, we've already used up 2 messages out of 5 in Loveable. You know what? Actually, we'll leave the last message and we'll see how much we can pack into the last message. For now, we'll go in phase 2. Let's see what Loveable comes up with. Alright, let's have a look. Let's see where the directory works. Do we have a directory page? Yeah, we've got a directory page. Nope, we run into an error. Let's have a look at logs. So what's it complaining about? Oh, okay, so it's trying to access Supabase with 401 status undefined. Okay, I think I know what the issue here is. Let's go into here. Let's go into Supabase, into our project. I have a feeling that it's probably going to be low row level security. We'll have a look at that at some other point. Now, what we want to do. Just a moment. Got a Christmas beetle. Ah, the benefits of living in Australia. Oh man. Let's have a look. What we want to do is we want to. Where's the AI? I want to enable read access on my tables for development. So love the fact that most of these tools nowadays have AI assistance. The only thing that I need to do is I need to find where exactly. Here we go. So enable row level security. So this is a bit of a side quest. Let's go and create a select this. Yep, it's just go on. Alright, let's try that. So we got that. What other tables we got? Same deal. Let's give it read access. I'll bugger it. I'll basically disable all these rules after this live recording. Alright. Let's try again. Let's go back to see where this will work. The issue with this is I believe we'll use up another one of our messages. Kind of sucks a little bit. I think I just messed it up a little bit. Okay. Looks like it's working. We just don't have any businesses in Supabase. Let's see where we can just create some dummy data. Okay, let's go and businesses. Dummy businesses located in and around Sydney, Australia. Okay. Wow, how's this for a bit of a side quest? Let's just try this. Man, what's the easiest way of getting the database structure? Okay, maybe this. Oh, come on. Really? Can't copy it? Let's try again. If you haven't kind of noticed yet, sometimes you can just plug in a bunch of random crap, and funny enough, a lot of LLMs, most of the LLMs will, are switched on enough to kind of figure out what exactly you mean. this works. Hmm. Looks like we've got a friggin' constraint. Oh man, that sucks. Let's just disconnect. I'm just going to disconnect Supabase and continue. Alright, that was a bit of a side quest. We kind of messed up Loveable a little bit because we plugged in Supabase a little bit too early. But we did end up with a directory listing page. Problem is it was trying to pull the businesses from the database. So I guess if there's one learning for yourselves, if you are doing anything, don't hook up Supabase too early. If you do want to use it, maybe concentrate on just the static version of the site first before you try to plug in the database. That's my bad. But anyways, we do have a homepage in Loveable. We do have a directory. Let's go back and figure out what the next step is. Right, so we've got, actually hang on, how many messages have we got left now in Loveable? We got one message in Loveable. Alright, so for the last message we're going to try to plug in the rest of these steps and see how far we can get. Anyways, alright, so let's go back to V0 and let's go. So we did phase 3. Did we do phase 3? No, we did phase 2. So listing, now we want a detail page. Let's go continue from the previous steps, and now let's add a business detail page following business detail page. Please link the product cards to the new business detail page. Follow these additional instructions. Right, let's have a look. So again, obviously, V0 is generating different files, giving us a bit of a summary, right? Now let's have a look to see, as a link the business cards, as a link the featured business cards. What about the directory page? Yep, cool. So the directory page does link to the business page, right? Again, fairly basic, a really minimalistic look and feel, but we do have the location for the business, some reviews, services, and there's a button to contact the business, and if you click that, obviously the button doesn't do anything. We haven't told it to do anything. Yeah, not bad. Still very minimalistic, but if you're someone that likes playing around with the design yourself, it's something to start off with. Now we can go back to the directory and we can go back to homepage. Submit business doesn't work, obviously. Cool, that's V0. Let's try the same thing in Bolt. We'll copy the same prompt. Try to stop it from tripping up on itself. Actually, let me just get these. So again, bolts obviously generating different files, your various components, giving you a bit of a running progress on the left hand side. Might be getting pretty close with the tokens in Bolt though. Oh, and we just ran into our first problem. How many tokens have we got left? Ooh, getting pretty close. So when Bolt runs into issues, in a lot of cases, what it'll try to do is it'll try to kind of give you a bit of a hint, and it'll give you like a quick attempt fix. Now, the attempt fix it uses up tokens. So if you get into a situation where you have to keep re-prompting to actually fix the issue, you can basically blow through your tokens pretty quick. Let's just try to get it to fix it. So we only have 21,000 tokens left. So let's see whether it actually fixes it. Now, it doesn't really help that it's actually revisiting a lot of existing files, even though we had one specific kind of error. So we just used up all of our tokens just with that fix. Right, so now if I have a look at the tokens, we've blown, or basically we're over our daily allowance. Alright, so we used up 150,000 tokens for Bolt. To continue sort of within Bolt, we'd have to wait until tomorrow, or we'd have to upgrade for more tokens. So for example, if I go to upgrade for more tokens, the cheapest plan is $20 US a month, right? And you get 10 million tokens. There is a Teams account, Teams um, set of plans, and I believe if you switch to billing, so annual billing, I should say, it gets a little bit cheaper. So from 20 to 18, right? And for Teams, it goes from 30 to 27 on Bolt. So that's as far as we got with Bolt. Looks like we ran into a bunch of other errors. Did we get a detail page? So if I click on one of these, no, we didn't get a detail page. So yeah, so we ran out of, we ran into errors. We tried to fix the errors, but because we kind of ran out of tokens, we sort of, you kind of let it stuck a little bit. If you do get into a situation where you run out of tokens, you sort of, yeah, you can download your project and continue locally. You can open the project up and stack blitz and try to fix it that way, manually. Or you wait until tomorrow, or you upgrade to a subscription to finish doing what you're doing. But that's basically Bolt out of action. Now, if we go to Loveable, so with Loveable, we know for a fact that we're down to one daily message, right? I did screw us up a little bit because one, I used up one message updating the title, and two, I kind of messed it up because I did hook in Supabase early on, and by doing that, what it actually did was it kind of affected the prompts. So now instead of the prompts trying to figure things out themselves, the prompts were trying to integrate with Supabase, right? We're now down to one message, and if I kind of did one little prompt, for example, that's it, would be out of messages. But I kind of want to give it one last sort of shot, and what I'm going to do, let's just see how much we can push. Push the project for the last message. Let's continue. So we'll do these. In addition to the above, we'll also add in this. Alright. I'm just going to see how much we can plug into a one single prompt. I'll also say we want a fully featured directory website, so please add any missing features, any missing key pages, features, animations, and forms. Let me just say this. We want a fully featured website, so please use your best judgment and add any. Okay, let's see. That's what it does. Let's see what Loveable does for its last message of the day. See, I don't necessarily know how much you can plug into every Loveable prompt. That might be a little experiment that might try tomorrow when I get some more messages. Might see how much I can basically put into one single prompt. Because because you know what, 5 messages might be alright if you can just pack a ton of details. So again, it's given us a little bit of a summary of what it's done. That's telling us that the build's unsuccessful. Okay, that's a bit interesting. It's alright. We know we ran into an issue. We're out of messages, so we can't really use the AI to fix the issue. It's telling us that it's implemented a comprehensive business detail page with all the requested features, including a business profile information, services section, reviews, and contact functionality. The implementation includes loading states, error handling, form validation. The business cards and directory now linked to individual business pages. All forms include proper validation. Okay, let's have a look. Let's see what it's done. Do the featured link. No, that's broken. So it didn't go as far as fixing the featured cards. Let's go to the directory. It's kind of a bit busted. Let's try again. Do we have a directory page? That's interesting. We just asked it to fix the issue. I'm surprised that it hasn't come up complaining that we're out of messages. Okay, let's try the directory page again. Okay, we've got directory page. So the problem is that we don't really have a business detail page. Oh, we don't have businesses because we broke that Supabase connection. Let me see. So this is strange that it's can we switch back to dummy data for auto mechanics in the Greater Sydney area and not use Supabase for now? There we go. So it looks like the trying to fix the errors isn't including the messages, but me asking for a prompt, it's actually gone. Nope, we're out of daily messages. So yeah, it's either upgrade, start paying, or we we need to wait until tomorrow. That's basically Loveable. So I think we would have gotten pretty bit further if I hadn't tried to plug into Base when I did, and you know I might try doing just a short tutorial coding session with Loveable at some point, just to see how much can I pack into each prompt. Because if I can pack a lot of detail into the prompts, still might be a pretty decent solution, decent platform. So yeah, V0 is still in the running. Bolt, we've run out of tokens. We ran into an error. Loveable, we kind of screwed it up because we plugged in or I plugged in Supabase too early, but you know, it doesn't look too bad. We don't have form for submit businesses. Let's try to finish off V0. So we've got a detail page. Let's see where we can run out of the tokens. Let's continue. Can we now? Let's see. Still don't know where the limit for the V0 comes into play. But it's actually building a form, so that's a good thing. So let's see how far we can push it before we max out the limit. Okay, what do we have? Okay, we've got a form now. Any validation? Still doing some stuff. Okay. They're all validation. Oh, here we go. On submit. There's validation on submit. Cool. Okay, let's go. And so where we're at, we've pretty much got the form. Supabase integration. I don't know if I really want to tackle this just in case we screw something else up. Let's just try to finish off the key features. Let's go. Can we link? Actually, let's do this. Can we now centralize the dummy data? Cool. So we just asked it to centralize the dummy data. You know, it's kind of funny because you don't necessarily build in directory side. If you plugged in all of your data into a static file, like a bit of a static file, you could in theory go out with some sort of directory without having to plug in a database as just like a quick MVP. Let's have a look. Alright, so we've centralized the data. Let's go. Can we now link the featured auto mechanic cards to the detail page? Cool. So now that's linked to the detail page. You know what? Let's fix the search. Let's actually use the selection. Fix the search to be full width and have proper padding margin. Okay, starting to come up on the limit with V0. So it looks like we've got 2 messages remaining for today on the free tier. Cool. So we have the search. Still doesn't look super great. Like, looks like we've got a bit of a yeah. V0 is not the best with design, but it is what it is. Let's let's do the fix the search and the facets on the directory page. Can we make the search and filters work on the directory on both the home and directory pages? So we're now down to 1 message for today. That's interesting. So it looks like it's rewriting the dummy data again. Okay. Cool. Let's see whether things are working. Yeah, cool. Filters are working on the home page. If I type in Parramatta, yep, the search works. If I go to directory, I'll go to location. If I select Parramatta, okay, that doesn't work. What about service type? No, that's not working. What about that? So search is working. What about sort? Location, that's not working. So it's not. It kind of fixed up the home page, didn't fix up the directory page. Can you try making the filters and sort order work directory page? That will be basically all of our messages for today. Hopefully it fixes what we needed to fix. So one thing that I just noticed, so V0, when it actually builds out Next.js, it actually uses the app router, whereas Bolt, because I didn't really specify it for it to use the app router, it's actually built out the project as using the pages router. So the pages router is the older router, whereas app router is the new router. and there are some fairly major changes between the two. So again, like if you're prompting, you know, maybe have a bit of think about whether that really matters to you. Okay, so let's have a look at the preview. Alright, so homepage, search works, filters work. Let's go to the directory. Looks like the dummy data was rewritten again, so the actual filters are a little bit different. So it looks like filters now work. But I can only make one selection though, right? Which is probably not the best user experience. Price range. So price range works. Yeah, it's not the nicest kind of user experience. What about sort order? Yep, sort order works. So yeah. There we go. So I might wrap it up there. So that's a bit of a comparison of V0, Bolt, Loveable, Replit. Hopefully it gives you an idea of what it looks like to prompt each one of them. Hopefully have a bit of an idea of token limits. Now, again, the token limits aren't always really easily visible. Like for example, we didn't know what the token limit was on V0 until it started telling us that we were running out of messages. Whereas for Loveable, it's hidden away in the account settings, and you get 5 daily messages. Bolt, it's a little bit easier. So if you go into settings, go into your tokens, you see what your usage is. Replit, I'm a little bit surprised with Replit. I thought that there might be a free tier where you can do something, but it looks like with Replit you do need to kind of subscribe and start paying to be able to actually build anything using its agent. If you're playing around with Loveable, don't do what I did, and that is, yep, you've got an awesome little Supabase button, but don't try to introduce Supabase too early. Try to do all the static work to sort of begin with. Then maybe centralize your data somewhere, and then potentially, actually, I'll try transferring this project into my repository. So I just hit that transfer repository button. I'm going to create the repository within my project here. If I click that, it should create the repository within my GitHub project. And now that it's actually created it, I can basically clone it locally. I can edit it in VS Code. Okay, so I'll open up GitHub, right? So I can potentially work on the code online within VS Code, or I can also go view in GitHub. So here's the actual Loveable project. I can basically, again, clone, or I can even download the zip, right? And it is a full project. So if I go download zip, right, you basically get all the files that you need to to work on the project locally. You're still going to have to install your node modules and so on. You have to set up Supabase, because I screwed up again and I included Supabase. So for me to be able to get this project working, I'd even need to remove Supabase, right, from the project, or I need to introduce Supabase properly. But you can export your code using the free tier. Bolt, same deal. You can download the project, open it up. Right, you've got all the files. Again, you'd have to install the node modules, right? But you do have that. V0, same sort of deal, right? So if I go deploy, is it deploy? That's not fork. Where is the button? Oh yeah, it's a little bit of a weird one. The add to code base button, if you click that, you can download the zip, or you can basically use npx to get the project files in. Now the biggest thing that you need to keep in mind with the V0 project, it isn't a full project, right? It's only the parts, like the components, the pages, dummy data, and so on. You'd need to introduce these into a existing Next.js project to be able to kind of get this project up and running on your local. And that's it, right? Hopefully you got something out of this session. If you've got any questions, flick them across. Yeah, if you enjoy this sort of content, subscribe, like, and if there's something else that you'd like me to go over, just leave a comment. Have a good one.